how to identify internal and external reports, because the beginning of success begins with how students will be able to identify a particular report as either internal report or an external report. I can tell you this for free that in the past we've seen a situation where a report, a case is an external report, but students use the cover page for an internal report. So, which means that it's not supposed to be like that. And that is the beginning of what? That is the beginning of opposite of success. When you see a case. Now, please, can someone walk us through what we discussed in our previous class? Just tell us an overview of what we discussed in our previous class. Anyone? Okay, Kende.
Good evening, Mr. Ibrahim. Happy Sunday and happy new month in advance to you. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for giving us your time. I think last meeting you kind of tried to familiarize us with case study entirely. And during the meeting, we were able to understand that it's a 4-hour paper and it is often classified as pre-zine. And you let us know that the pre-zine part of the case study is usually released 2 weeks ahead of the exams, and it gives the overview of what will happen in the unseen part of the case study. You also made us to understand some of the things that are often tested in the case study, and you emphasize that macroeconomic indicators such as the CBN recapitalization policy and the effects on banks. I think the recapitalization policy ends on I think March 2026 or so for different tiers of banks. And you also said it could be tested on other things like the tax reform, the NPR implication on SMEs borrowing. So, and you made us to understand that the days that I can test knowledge is kind of gone, that we are now moving towards testing our ability to interpret financial reports for effective decision making by stakeholders. You made us to understand that we should not be too much bothered about getting our calculations right, although that is good to get it right, but that will not hand us mark like our interpretation. That even when we do have a wrong interpretation, a wrong results, financial calculations, so far we can be able to defend it in our discussion, in our interpretation, that we are good to go. And I think you also mentioned that it's used to have 2 requirements: ratio analysis, which you said that is going to be in the appendix section, and in the analysis. So, and you also said that they now test more than 2 requirements as against the 2 that they normally test pre-November 2024. And you said they don't test set questions on interim reports such as maybe quarterly or half-year report, that what they normally said their question on is on full year financial statements. So thank you very much, sir.
Well, makes sense, right? That makes sense, and that is all we discussed in our previous class. And you've actually summarized all what we discussed in our previous class. Even those who are not around, right, can be able to pick one or two points for what you just summarized. Now, thank you so much for that summary. Now, class, in today's class, we shall look at how to identify an internal report as well as external reports. Yes, how to identify an internal report, because over time we'll have a lot of back and forth. Oh, when the person is out 2 weeks to exam, some people will see it, some students will see it as an internal report, while some will see it as an external report. And if you use a case that's supposed to be an internal report, then you now do a cover page of an external report. The case is an internal report, but your cover page is in line with an external report, and it is just the beginning of opposite of success, right? Because the examiner will assume that maybe this student did not know what he's doing. So that is the reason why you need to understand that. Excuse me. That is the reason why you need to understand that present, and we should not forget that present is just to give, just like you mentioned, that present is just to give you a head of what will happen in the unseen. The financials given to you in the present does not mean that I can still give you the same financials. It is not possible, right? And we've seen over the diet, we've seen a case whereby some people, we say they have projected these, and or probably the financials given in their unseen, they rely on it, and at the end of the day, they see the unseen, and what they plan for is different from what they see, and most of the students come back for that particular exam even before I start taking online physical class. So what I'm trying to say is that someone should not tell you what will happen. You should be the one to tell yourself, from this present, this could be, this may happen, this may not, this may happen, and what are the evidences from the present. And that is the reason why, for those who will continue with us in the present analysis, you will see it, that it is not a magic at all. From each of the exhibits, we will analyze it. Oh, every student input is very important. Then we'll put it down, so that when we are building up our reports, we use all those things to build up reports. And it is not, I'm coming to go and generate a report. I don't do that. I will have to do it in class together. You see, the English, we'll speak in class together. The grammar, the grammatical errors, we'll correct it in class together, because nobody is perfect, right? So please, Mr. Hay should not be telling you, this is it. You should be able to tell yourself, honestly, case study is not difficult. There is case study in ACCA, Strategic Business Leader. There is case study in CIBN. This is CIBN, Chartered Institute of Banker of Nigeria. This is, it is called exponential learning module. Yes, learning module. This is it. This is CIBN. I have another one of case study of tax as well, right? And these are things that we do on daily basis. I can use present to build up a report, 14 to 15 pages, then you now look at it. How come? It is not a magic. It is what is in the case we use to analyze, right? And we should not equally forget that what will happen in the unseen, right? We already know most of what will happen. Most of them, you already know most of what will happen in the unseen. The reporting format, the reporting guidelines does not change. It remains the same, right? So in today's class, we will use the prescient to project to see if this particular case is an internal report or an external report. So if we have identified this particular case as an internal report or an external report, we'll check another one for internal report, or then we'll proceed to what I usually call an answer plan. We'll get there. Answer plan is a guide in report writing. You see, even if you don't know what to write at all, if you have the plan work, you already know that after this is what you need to do first. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. So you just follow the guidelines, the format, right? So let's quickly check November 2024, the prescient. We'll check for only the prescient. November 2024, please, are you there? November 2024 case study. So we need to identify if a particular case is an internal report or an external report, right? Okay, if a report is an internal or an external report. So we have analyzed all this information in our first class. We've analyzed all the information. As we move, we keep analyzing them, right? As we move. Now, from the prescient, we should not forget that from the prescient, from the prescient given to us 2 weeks to the exam, we want to know if that particular case is an internal or an external report. Of course, we've seen a case. There's no case like that though. 99%, you already know that 99%, once you just read one of the exhibits, you already know that this particular case is an internal or an external report. So it is 99% assurance that that case is an internal report. What you need to do is that, okay, you have to draft a cover page for it, right? You draft a cover page for either it is internal or an external report, right? Then the next question should be that, maybe, is there no case whereby our prescient will show 99% an internal report? Then the unseen, you read the requirements and then you're like, this case is looking like an external report. They've never been that case, but I usually tell professional students that just prepare. Don't worry about whether it is. What you need to do is that you already know it is 99% assurance. 99% that, okay, it is an internal report. The second thing you need to do, once you get your question paper, check the requirement, read the requirement. So if you're now sure that, they still talk about the same thing, then you can now draft a cover page for the report if it is an internal or external. But I've not seen a case whereby we've seen it that, the prescient is showing 99% and the unseen will now be showing different. I've not seen that case scenario, but I usually say that just prepare for anything, but it is not usually occur like that. Class, are we there? Please confirm if you can see my screen, please.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, you
Okay.
can.
Thank you. So we'll check November 2024. We'll check May 2025. We'll check which of these is it an internal report or an external report. Right? Now, Blessing, do you have a question for me? Blessing. Okay, no, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So we have the list of exhibits. Class, can you see? Travis Hotel. Now, this exhibit means that is where you will see all this information. Exhibit 1, you will see this information about you. Exhibit 2, you will see information about the Nigeria economy. Exhibit 3, you will see information about business environment. Exhibit 4, you will see this for the pricing. So exhibit 5, you will see information about the financial summary. Exhibit 6, you will see information about the hospitality, business, sustainability, and innovation. Now let's check the exhibits. Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1. Class. Usually, this exhibit 1, it is where you will see if a particular case is an internal report or an external report. Just this exhibit 1. This exhibit 1 will tell you if this particular case, this person, is an internal report or an external report. Right? You should not conclude on the exhibit 1. Right? You should not just conclude on this present exhibit 1. Don't forget that I said you have to, when you see your own thing, you have to confirm that, oh, this case is an internal report or an external report. But the exhibit 1 will show you that we indicate that this report is an internal or an external or an external report. Right. Please, can someone read exhibit 1? Please, who will read exhibit 2? Okay.
Can I read?
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
About you, Dan Kabir, and your employer, Techno Consulting Services. You are Dan Kabir, writing the professional level of ICANN examination. You are employed as a trainee consultant by Techno Consulting Services, and you report to Michael Chukwuma, partner in charge of hospitality group within the
firm. It's okay. Thank you. Now, class, you are Dan Kabivi, writing the professional level of ICANN examination. Then you are employed as a trainee. You just like maybe AA and Co. So you have been employed as a trainee, but he's a consultant, right? As a trainee consultant by Techno Consulting Services. You are employed as a what? As a trainee. Now, consulting services, what did they do? They consult for people now. Is that not so? Consulting. They consult for clients. And you report to Michael Chukwuma, partner in charge of the hospitality group within the firm. Class, with this sentence now, what can you conclude on? You are being employed as a trainee, right, in a consulting firm. Then you are to report to Michael Chuk. Of course, you don't expect your boss to be doing all those small job now, financial analysis, and you will have to report to your boss, Michael Chukwuma, and you've been employed as a trainee, as like just like graduate trainee pro, okay, maybe in any of the audit firm, right? Maybe consulting firm, right? So what can you deduce from here, class? From that sentence, what can you deduce from there, class? Okay, someone said internal reports, the other person said external reports, right? Now, from that sentence, I can deduce that it is an external report. Do you know why? Because you are being employed by as a trainee. Yes, it is peculiar to you. You've been employed as a what? As a trainee. Is that not so? As a trainee in a consulting firm. The consulting firm will have a client. Is that not so? So anything you're doing it, they employ you, but you are doing it for a client. Then you have to report to Michael. So first indicate the first thing you need to see that, oh, this is okay, this is an external report, because the consulting firm will not just be there. They will have clients. Right. Now, another thing you need to know is your responsibilities. Your responsibility include preparing detailed financial analysis and reports on the performance of the firm of hospitality clients. Another indicator. Preparing detailed financial analysis and reports on the performance of the firm's hospitality. So meaning that you have to do a financial analysis of the firm's hospitality. Which of these firm of hospitality is your client? Because you work as an audit trainee. Then they will have a client. So it is an external report. 99, you can say, okay, it is okay. The likelihood is just, okay, 99% an external report. Right? Because it is a consulting firm, and a consulting firm will have clients. Now, that is you can see that they say financial analysis. Class, what is financial analysis, class? What is financial analysis? Class, what is financial analysis, class? Hello? What is financial analysis? That is a ratio. Is that not so? Your financial analysis is ratio. You are to do a report on the performance. Thank you. Of the firm's hospitality clients. First, in our first lecture, I explained that usually we normally have before now two requirements: the ratio and the business proposal. When a company wants to expand their line of a business, right? We usually have two requirements, but after that time, we have three. Last diet was even 4. And I equally mentioned that the first requirement usually on ratio, the second maybe on business proposal. You have to do a model, which we don't even know. It is when you read the present will now tell you that, oh, this present is pointing towards pastel. This person is pointing towards SWOT. This is talking about the 5 forces. This is talking about the gap analysis, the growth model, and so on. So your responsibility, class, in your unseen, your responsibility here in the present will not be far from your requirement at all. But the only difference between the present and unseen is that the unseen, they will tell you that this is the requirement and this is the financials you have to use, and they will give you all the information you need to do for the analysis. Why the present, they will just hide some information. They just want you to think. We need to think together, right? So that is the first responsibility ratio. Now, the next one is analyzing your client's financial statements to identify areas of weakness and providing solution to the management. Class, of course, you've analyzed the financial statement of PepsiCo, for instance. Then, from your analysis, what is your weakness? Areas of weakness. Areas of weakness means that, excuse me, you said the profitability ratio increases from year to year. That is just the fact, though. You say profitability increases from year one to, or from this year to this year. It is fact. We know that the profitability increase. Tell us something. Tell us more about it. We want to know about the profitability ratio. Now, what could have been the reason? Oh, it could have been that, the profitability ratio, for instance, decreases over the years under review. What could have been the reason? Oh, it could have been that their operating expenses increases over the years. Weakness. So when you are doing an analysis, you have to tell us what happened. Tell us. We don't know. We are not there. That is the reason why most time when we are doing analysis, I don't use this is as a this is that, because I'm not there. So when you're doing a financial analysis, you can say analyze your clients. It is an external report because Techno Consulting, we have a client. Of course, you don't expect your boss to be doing these financials, this small work. You'll be the one to do that, right? Areas of weakness, of course. Areas of weakness, profit solution to the management. What is the solution? There's a guide. You talk about the profitability ratio decreases over the years. Oh, this could be, or this may be as a result of increase in the operating expenses. Fine, makes sense. Okay, now weakness. Now tell us, what is the solution? It is not enough. What is the solution? That will now be your recommendation, right? As a business analyst or as a trainee. Now, what is the solution? Proofing solution. What is the solution? Oh, AA Limited could reduce or should reduce their operating. Should do what? Maybe an advice for them. Oh, they can produce a quality product. With that, I think they will have more demand in their revenue. It is solution, class. It is what? Solution. So you can see that the first responsibility, the second responsibility is pointing towards ratio. That is the reason why in case study, we can't even do without it. It's CIBN now. I just did the analysis, CIBN. It is banking. The banking ratio are different from the normal ratio. In banking, they use what we call CAMEL. C stands for capital adequacy ratio. Then we have M stands for management efficiency, right? E stands for earnings, then L stands for liquidity. We'll get there. Should in case I can want to bring a present that has to do with banking, we don't have issue with that. We have the code at Next Gen Professional Associate. Even if it is insurance, I've been doing research on insurance companies to do their financials, maybe their 1 year financial, and send the reports to other partners to review the analysis. So we are prepared for the worst case. Now, that is the first responsibilities is pointing towards ratio analysis as a trainee, right? Now, what is the third responsibility? Assessing your clients. So you can see that this is another indicator that this is an external report. Because when you report to Michael Chukuma, right? Michael Chukuma will not just keep the report. They will present it to the what? To the client. Assessing your client's operational strategic business proposals with the view to evaluating their alignments with the client's objectives and the extent to which relevant business and financial risk have been considered. Meaning that that's fine. Meaning that assessing your client's operational and strategic business proposal, right? Now, the third responsibility is pointing towards that. In this case, we may have business proposal. We may have business proposal. What is even business proposal? We're all professionals, right? You have, let's say there's a business on ground, right? And you need to expand the business. Then you have to evaluate 2 projects, whether this is viable or not. That is business proposal, to ensure that that business proposal align with the client's objective. If the business proposal did not align with the client's objective, it is a reservation. We'll get there, which you need to state in your reports. And the extent to which relevant business and financial risk can be what risks have been considered. Of course, class. When you want to go into a new, you have a proposed business proposal, you should be looking at the financial risk. How do we finance this proposal? How? Tell us. Financial risk are risks that affect the business. For them not to achieve a certain objective, it could be that they were not able to pay. Imagine a business that you analyze the financials and they have high level of gearing. Now, what is the implication? The implication is that, oh, you guys have high level of gearing and you want to go into new proposal of a business. It will lead to financial risk, because how will we then now finance that business proposal? That is the question. Then you still need to write that, oh, there will be a reservation, financial risk. How will they pay? Because a company that has high level of gearing, their sources of finance may be high, because you go to a bank, MPR is around 27.5. Don't even expect bank to lend you at that basis point. Everybody wants to make profit. Bank will lend you at either 32 basis points or 33 basis points, because they need to make profits, right? Then, before they will lend you, they will need to check your financials, and they will now see that, if they now see that a sign that these people, they have high level of gearing, do you know what they will do? they will increase the cost of borrowing. They will increase it. Once they increase the cost of borrowing, now, how will they pay back? So you are not able to meet up with your suppliers as and when due. It is a problem. Now, a company that is having a financial risk, you are not able to pay. So how will you now finance this business? Initially, you're not able to even meet up with their obligation in your financial analysis that you did. The question is, how do we now finance the business proposal? And what is business risk? Business risk are risks that affect that line of a business. The question is this proposal, what are the risks? Is there any identification of risk in the case scenario? If it is not, it is a reservation. We have to state it in our reports. We'll get there. That is business proposal. You can see the second responsibility is pointing towards a business proposal. Next, we have assessing your client financials and business forecasts together with the assumptions upon which they are based to suggest recommendation to the class. Assessing your client's financial and business forecast. Another thing should come to your mind as a business analyst. Focus. Okay. So the first one is business proposal. So definitely the second one, they tell us about business focus. Business proposal can be two projects. Can be they want to expand their product. That it may lead to what? Business focus. So that business proposal may be a forecast, a business forecast. That you'll be given the what? The assumption. Thank you. Right? You'll be given the assumptions that just like financial modeling, you'll be given the assumption. In this way, you'll be given the assumptions that the revenue will increase by 5%. That is their proposal, business proposal. They may give you business proposal 1 and 2. Then you forecast it. You forecast it based on the assumptions given to you in the question. Then when you forecast, you check if the project is viable or which of the project is viable. Then you now recommend. Of course, when you do the analysis, you have to recommend. What is your recommendation? So meaning that the responsibility now talks about the financial analysis, the business proposal, and the business forecast, which means that this business forecast may be under the business business proposal. So as a business analyst, you're already forecasting what will happen. Class, I said it in our previous class, or at the beginning of this lecture, I said your responsibility, your requirement in the unseen will not be far from your responsibility. The only thing is that you already know in your unseen, you will see the direction where you are going to. The direction. This is what the question says we should do. Then you follow it like that. But in the present, you don't have. You just okay, this is what could have been, or this is what will happen. You just prepare for what will happen in the unseen. Right? Lastly, drafting reports for the partner based on the operational and strategic business analysis you have carried out. Of course, after you've carried out a financial analysis, right? The business, right? This no, it will not remain constant. So it will you different case now. They will give you different responsibility. Coming. Drafting reports for the partner based on the operational and strategic business analysis you have carried out. Of course, you've carried out financial analysis, you've carried out the business proposal, you've assessed the business, you've included the financial risk and the business risk of the business. Then, of course, you have to draft a report to your boss, which is you have to draft to your boss for review, right? For what? For review. Lastly, this responsibility demand you that you keep yourself abreast of developments in the hospitality industry, both nationally and internationally, so that you can carry out the above tasks effectively. Of course, as a professional, please, we need to keep ourselves appraised on what is happening in our environment. There are a lot of reforms. There are a lot of policy, and there is a lot of way we can make money in the world. In all these policies, you can just sit down and check the Nigerian Insurance Act of 2024 and just sit down, read it, understand the law, and just write something about it. Just write, because as far as I'm concerned, I've seen so many opportunities in the law, in the Insurance Act, for the what? For the real estate companies. I'm working on that. So I will put it out and tell them that, okay, if they want to know about this, this is how it goes. How they can use that act to generate, to make profits, or to generate an inflow for them. Exchange. Both the insurance company will benefit, and both the real estate guys will also benefit. We need to keep ourselves abreast on that. Now, techno consulting services. Techno consulting services is a high reputable consulting firm employing over 1,000 staffs, specializing in high growth industry, including the hospitality industry. So this is the end of the first exhibit. And this is where you will now, this is the first exhibit that you will know that this particular case is pointing towards an internal or an external report. In this now, with what we've read, is an external report. So please, if you have questions, quickly unmute your mic. So let me take question before we check another case. Right. So you can unmute your mic quickly. Ayodeji. Class, can we move?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
Please, please, before we move.
Wale.
So when we are looking at whether it's external or internal, then we will not consider whether the employee is who is reporting to. Like this one now, we are told that you report to Mike Chukuma. So in looking at whether it's external or internal, we will not look at that aspect, right?
Where you will focus on is that, Wale, you are employed as a trainee in a consulting firm, in a chartered accountant firm, and your boss now gave you something to do. What your boss gave you to do, right? Is it for the company? It's clients now. It's a consulting firm. It's clients. So it's just for you to say, okay, this is my draft report for your review. Then when Oga check it, okay, correct this. This is not correct. This is not correct. This is not correct. Yeah, you take it. You give. Go and give this client is a report.
Okay.
Do you understand? And this responsibility is now pointing towards clients, meaning that the techno consulting services have a client in hospitality. What is the name of the name of the company? I think it's Travis thereabouts. They need to perform all this responsibility. Do you get? So they will take this.
Yes.
So when you are done with the responsibility, you take it to your boss. Your boss will now do some correction. Then they present it to the client. Do you understand?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other question, please?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Taib.
Yes, actually, my question is that, case study is like some question we ask is about the what we are going to do to probably later in the future, but it relates to what we are treating, but a bit different. My question is that out of this, how they bulletin these requirements, probably the way it's
No,
coming
this
in
is not
exam.
hello, Taib. This is not a
Eh, I-
requirement,
yes,
responsibility.
that's what I'm trying to say, sir.
Okay.
How they bulletin all this, when we get to the unseen, we might have probably like 4 requirements, requirement 1, 2, 3 to 4. So the way we can structure the heading and in the body of our report, that's like after the introduction, that's where I have issue. So how we are going to structure it to
Taib,
encompass all the requirements.
Taib, don't worry about that. You are here with us, right? Don't worry about the structure, right? Don't worry about the structure. We'll get there. Do you understand? We'll get there. And Taib, you should not equally forget that you don't need to do all the requirements if time did not permit you. Last diet, you have 4 requirements. And guess what? You don't need to start from the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, just like the way they arrange it. You can start from financial analysis. You know that you can analyze that one. Then your business proposal, you quickly do small. See, it is not that you should do that business proposal the way it is in SFMO. Anything that comes to your head, anything that comes to your mind, the way you understand how the assumption should be increases. If they give you DCF, use the DCF to get your present value, get your NPV, whether it is viable or not, so that you will not waste much of your time in that calculation, right? Although you need it, but you don't need to waste much of your time in that calculation, right? So that is all you will now take to do what? To do your report. We'll get there. Do you understand, Taib?
All right,
So
sir.
the
Thank
structure
you.
is not a problem.
Because last night my experience was that I've done the financials, like
I
I've
didn't
done
say
the written
table of content to I don't talk about any.
not stable of content,
Okay,
sir.
no, someone is
I,
in the chat
okay.
button. I don't know.
I did I was unable to do my appendix because we have a drafted report. So I was able to do the after the introduction, the body of the report. But when I get to the area of sustainability, so I just have to write sustainability, the heading, the way the requirement says it, I underline it, and I was writing what I think I know about sustainability, all this ECG and the likes. I didn't really relate it with the question. So that's what I want to.
Okay, don't worry. We'll get to that point. Although I think I have like 4 reports. Like but I don't share my report actually. Just because of 1 or 2 reasons. I don't share report because I'm the kind of person that if I give you this report, I'm not helping you. I'm not at all. I'm not, because I may not be there. Even if you pass the exam, what if you just want to do an analysis? You don't need to call me. You can just sit down with the guide and you write the report you send. You can send to me, you can send to your boss for review, and before you send it to the person that needs the report. And that is how it works. Right. So we'll get there. Victor, so this is just an external report. We'll just identify if the person will be an internal report or an external report, which I said the first exhibit will show that this particular case, so it is 99%. 99%. It is when you now see the unseen, then you now confirm the first requirement, then you can now start your what is it called? Your cover page. We'll get there though. We'll get there. So Victor.
Okay, thank you so much. So far, so good. Yeah, I think the way you're explaining, breaking it down is very, very, very explanatory, and I'm learning something so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
My question is, assuming the trainee Dan Tabu is to present this thing to his boss, knowing the circumstances now is going to be is eventually going to external client. Assuming he is to present it his boss, and his boss is going to present it to management for review before it will eventually to the external client.
Okay.
So, because sometimes the boss is presenting it to management review, will it be an internal or external?
No, it's still an external report. The report is going out. It's going out to a client. It's going out. So we'll see a case where we have an internal report. I think let's check May 2025. I think May 2025 is an internal report. You get Mr. Victor?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to see a scenario whereby is management consumption first. The management will see it, review, do whatever they want to do before they will now send to external client. So I just want to get that different clarification. But from what you are saying, if it is meant to be for external consumption or use, that it is external report.
Okay. Okay.
So that's my understanding of what you said. I just want to be clear about.
Okay. No, it is an external report. You get to still
All
be
right.
an external report. Thank you. Kende, quickly. Kende.
All right. All right. Thank you, sir. My question is that, assuming that Next Gen is one of those companies in the hospitality industry, and let's assume that I was hired on ad hoc basis. I mean, to do all of this responsibility, and maybe after achieving it, is that internal or external?
It's an internal report. We'll get there. Let's check one of the case. I understand your point. That's fine. It's an internal report. Let's check one of the case again. Let's quickly check before we go, because I just have few minutes. I'm coming. Let me check. Let's quickly check. May 2020, May 2025. Please, can someone send May 2025? Let's see. I think I have it. Please. May 2025. Let's check the pre-scene. May 2025. May 2025. Please, if you have it, you can send to the platform, please. Let's change. Wait. Case study. May 2025. No, let's check. Class, are we still together?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Trying to check if I can see a case. Please, if you have it, May 2025, please you can send to the group so that we can pick from there. Is the case. Okay, November 2023. Okay. I think I've seen it. Okay. Let's check November 2023. So November 2023, I think I have to share my screen. November 2023. November 2023. Right. November 2023. Entire school. November 2023. Okay. Now we can see, so this is, you can see the exhibits. Exhibit 1 is talking about this. Exhibit 2, this. Exhibit 3, exhibit 4, exhibit 5. So, okay. Please, can someone read? Nobody.
Okay.
Okay,
You are
okay.
John, writing the professional level of ICANN examination. You are employed as system and control accountant at the group head of Adalat Products Nigeria Limited, which has 3 strategic business units, SBUs. You are reporting to James Olaiton, Group Finance Director. Your
Okay.
responsibility.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, can you see that, can you see that you've been employed as a system and control accountant at where? At Adalat, at the group head office of Adalat Products Nigeria Limited, which has 3 strategic business units, right? Strategic what? Strategic business units. This is November 2023. Now, can you see that it is not a consulting firm, not and co? Is that not so? Not consulting or not and co. They employed me. I work with AA. They employed me as this. Is that not so? So with that statement, it shows that this report is 99% an internal report because I've been employed not as trainee in a consulting firm, as a system and control accountant. Right? At where? Adalat. Then these are my responsibility. Now, let's quickly check the responsibility. Preparing detailed financial analysis and reports on the performance of the strategic business unit. You can see ratio is very important. It is not all about calculating the ratio. What is most important is the analysis. We know that the profitability ratio, okay, we know that the sales increases. We know that the sales increases, but the question is, when you say the sales increases over the years, on what basis? What could have been the reason why the company sales increases? It could have been because from the exhibits, they might have mentioned something from the exhibits that, oh, they do after sales services, they do this. Oh, that could have been the reason. You have to state it, right? And you will see a professional student whereby you have to analyze the financials. You have to, you don't need to move out from the case, telling them what is not even in the case. You have to make reference. Oh, what could have been the reason? Could have been maybe you've read it in the exhibit that, oh, this actually decreases, or they render after sales service, they do this. So it is the fact. The first fact is that the sales increases. It is normal. You say our sales increases. We know now. Maybe we have this. We know. We are aware. Then you have to state the reason why their sales actually increase. We'll get there. We'll get there. So now you can see that we have financial what? The financial what? Analysis, which is ratio of the business, strategic business units. And this strategic business unit is in what? Adalat. Analyzing the strategic business unit financial statement to identify areas of weakness and profiling likely solution to correct the anomalies. You can see they did not mention there's no client here. Financial statement. Of course, you have to correct the anomalies. Maybe as an internal control accountant or system account, you see when you analyze it and you observe that, oh, the cost, excuse me, the cost increases, right? What could have been the reason why the cost increases? They might have mentioned something in the exhibit that about the Nigeria economy, most especially on inflation. We see inflation is just, let's say, decreasing at an increasing rate. I will just say it like that, decreasing at an increasing rate. Because even if you go to the market today, you still see that some things are still going up. But averagely, you will still see something that you bought 3 naira maybe last week, maybe this week, you have 2 naira on average, right? But it is not that, oh, the inflation is decreasing like that. So you have to give us, you have to tell us the weakness. You have to offer solution. Now, the next we have here is assessing operational strategic business proposal. Can you see everything is all about business proposal? Of course, strategic business proposal. We don't know the kind of business proposal that they want to do. We don't know. But when we read the present, we can project that the likely business proposal could be an expansion, could be merger and acquisition, could be merger and acquisition, could be an expansion, could be so many things, right? And when you are analyzing the business proposal, you should also consider the financial risk as well as the business risk of that particular what? Expansion. Assessing the group financial and business focus together with the assumptions upon which they are based to form judgments and recommendation to the board. Of course, you have a business proposal, you have to focus, maybe they give you like 2, you have to focus for 1 and 2, then you check the one that is viable, or they just give you 1 forecast. When you want to do a forecast, you don't need to do it the way it is in SFM. Use the assumptions. Oh, they tell you that, oh, the sales will increase by 5%. Increase the sales by 5%. because we decrease by 2%. Decrease it. Right? Like this case now, the second requirement is talking about from the preceding itself. You will see, it is pointing towards merger and acquisition of a bank. And why did they bring this case in CIBN? Because of CBN recapitalization. I told the client, I said, this is what may likely happen. This is what may likely happen. We are still on it. So what I'm trying to say is that every one of us, we are both professional colleagues. We need to keep ourselves abreast. Even if you don't understand some things, excuse me, even if you don't understand some things, you just have to do a research, ask question. That, okay, why is it like this? Why is this like, okay, what could have been the reason? But what are the likely implications on the long run? Right? So that is so business what? Business focused. Lastly, review. Right? Review the SBU sustainability practices and reporting. Now, in this sustainability, something should also come to your mind that review the strategic business sustainability practice and reporting. Maybe requirement 3 may be on sustainability. Nobody knows, but you just have to keep yourself up. You need to understand it that, oh, how do we know if the business unit is in compliance with sustainability reporting or practices? It is from the exhibit we may likely pick 1 or 2 things that, oh, this could lead to sustainability, right? Now, the next we have here is drafting report for the group finance director to be submitted to the board on the results of the SBU financial operation and strategic business analysis you have carried out. You can see that in this part, you have to draft it. Draft a report to your boss. It is an internal report. Draft it to James, the group finance director. It is an what? It is an internal report. Then all other information remain the same. Your responsibility. You can see that in this, from the responsibilities, the only non-financial we see here is just sustainability. That, oh, sustainability practice may be part of the requirement. Okay. After financial business proposal. Then when you now read the present, the other exhibits, right? You may now project that, okay, these are the likely model that you may see in the unseen, right? But you should not give yourself assurance, or you should not let's say don't allow, like, don't give yourself that assurance that this thing will come like this. No, it is not. We are just saying that this may be. So this particular case now from the exhibit 1 is an internal report, right? Your assignment is just for you to check other diet and check for internal as well as what external reports. Right? In our next class, we will draft an answer plan based on these requirements because it is a guide to us. Don't forget that I said your responsibility will not be too far from the requirements. And answer plan is like a guide in report writing. That is, it will enable you to know that you need to do analysis, or you need to write on ethical issues, you need to write on conclusions, you need to write on recommendation. So we will now prepare an answer plan. It's a guide. It will not make you to, it will guide you in what? In reports. So I think so question, please, before we go, please. Question. Please, if you have a question, quickly unmute your mic. Question. Am I free to go? Question, please. So, lastly, before we go, case study is not difficult. You just need to get the right tutor to guide you on report. We are, all of us, like, we are both professional colleagues, right? I may come up with this, maybe when we are in class together, for those who actually continue with us, though, when we are in class together and we produce a report, then I send it, you can still say, oh, okay, I can use this pattern, I can use this pattern. We are still saying the same thing, right? So please, so in today's class is just how to identify a case from the present, if it is an internal report, 99% an internal report or an external report. And we've checked November 2024 and November 2023 for the case. So in our next class, we'll build up an answer plan that we guide in what? In report writing. It's a guide in what? In report writing. So thank you so much. So are we good to go? Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and have a wonderful
Thank
week.
you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I need to stop this.